But let's say now there's a scarcity of XRP, and they need the XRP to move all of the money on Earth, and all the money on Earth we know is going to be in the quadrillions, hundreds of quadrillions potentially, 50 quadrillion, 100 quadrillion is in the cards. Is it possible that that scenario alone allows XRP to literally soar?
Absolutely, 100%. 100%. Money is the greatest transfer of wealth. Is all the hidden wealth that is within our rights, especially if we're here in America, right? Through our birth certificates and our social security card. And if we really, if we're going to the republic, right? Because the U.S. is a corporation. If we're going to go into the republic, we're going to unlock all that hidden wealth and all that land, all that money, and everything that goes to us, the people, right? This is where the Gasar and Asara comes in, right?
Are you saying everything's going to change?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, me too. But before we get started, folks, make sure you hit the pause button. Okay, go down below. There's a Rumble link. Go over to Rumble and follow us over there. QFS1776.com is, without question, the holy grail of what's to come. Okay, T-shirts. You got to get yourself decorated. This way people will ask you, what is XRP? What is the quantum financial system? What is this? What is that? And you send them where? To QFS1776.com, where they need to immerse themselves, because we're going to burn down this system down to the ground. And out of the ashes will rise the phoenix. There'll be nothing to go back to. Believe me when I tell you that. Gold and silver right down below. We are the ones that can get you the gold and silver directly to your door, okay, at the cheapest price. Don't even waste your time looking for a cheaper price. It doesn't exist. Also, our Telegram groups down below. If you want to learn what's coming and you're sort of a little scared, I understand. Believe me, I was there too at one point. And if you need more than $10,000 worth of XRP or $1 million worth of XRP, you come see me. Send me an email at QFS1776@gmail.com, and we'll get you as much as you want. Well, good afternoon, folks. We got EchoDaTruth, and that's exactly how you get to his channel on Twitter or x.com, EchoDaTruth, okay? Echo is a gold bug. He's a silver bug. He's an XRP bug. He's a quantum financial systems expert. He's a Jasara Nasara know-it-all. He knows a lot about a lot. And brother, it's such a pleasure to have met you in person for the first time at the XRP convention, and I'm sure that's going to be the first of many meetings that we will get together. We're going to do the Quantum Summit here. There's going to be some big names coming down. I'm already talking to a few people without mentioning who they are, but as soon as I'm allowed to release who they are, you better believe I will. And some of them are very, very serious people, and they said, Mel, if I tell you I'm coming down, period. Okay, unless the world blows up into smithereens, obviously, then, all bets are off. But obviously, that's not going to happen. Trump is on his way back. The RV, the XRP, the quantum financial system, it's getting ready to go like this. And I'm excited because you know what? We are so positioned, and we really earned our stripes, haven't we? We've been at this for quite some time, 9 years almost. And boy, oh boy, it's been a hell of a war. I came back from Costa Rica about, a year and a little bit ago. And I thought, the war is going to be over here in 2 months. Here we are, 10 months later, still fighting it. But, brother, welcome to the show. Tell us what you got, man. I know you are so heavy on silver and you're excited about silver. I believe silver. I agree with you. I believe silver is one of the new Bitcoins. Okay. If you own silver, it's way, way undervalued. And I know he knows a lot about that. Echo, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, thank you very much, Mel. Thank you very much for having me on. And thank you very much for the wonderful introduction. I don't even know how to follow up after that one right there.
Yeah, well, you're good at what you do. You're very good at your craft, sir. We follow your channel very closely. We take a lot of your clips and put them inside our Telegram group, and well deserved.
I appreciate it. No, thank you very much. And that's all it's about, right? Whenever I came on to social media, was just, putting out the truth, even if people don't want to hear it, right? 2+ years later now, it feels good to finally, start seeing the transition start taking place that we've been preaching about for so long, right?
Yes.
Everything is happening, right? And as you mentioned, I'm a bug for, anything to do with this new global monetary financial system that's coming in. Predominantly, I cover the U.S. debt clock and help decode that information. But within the U.S. debt clock, they've been giving us little hints on, the new treasury dollar that we're going to be introduced to here soon. But also it talks about how we're going to make that transition happen, and it all has to do with silver, right? So even though I started my journey on XRP and blockchain and cryptocurrency, after going down the rabbit hole and learning about the history of the monetary system, especially silver, right? I've come to find out that silver is the new Bitcoin, right? And not saying that, Bitcoin is bad by no means, but for the most part, silver is a tangible precious metal. It's God's money. And when you start figuring out how they have tricked the monetary system, right, the powers that be, and manipulated into a way that they can control it for a certain period of time, right? You can see why silver is the new Bitcoin. So as far as the information when it comes to silver itself, right? If from my research, when it comes to silver, if we all band together, like you mentioned, okay, we have 350 plus million people in the world, right? There's only 100 million ounces of silver in the COMEX right now, right?
Mhm.
But registered in the vault. Okay.
Sure.
With that being said, okay, only 35 million of it can be delivered at one time. So
Mm.
if we have 350 million people in the US and we went out and bought 1 ounce of silver, right? We all try to band together at one time, we
Mhm.
would deplete what they have in the COMEX and more. It would
Sure.
cause a short squeeze upon the largest short squeeze of all time, similar to GameStop and AMC, but you're talking about, something tangible. You're talking about silver, you know?
Sure.
Something that's been
Sure.
in when you start doing the research on how long it's been manipulated for, you can see why I'm so bullish, or why you're so bullish, or anybody else that have been talking about silver are so bullish on it. 1873 was when the Coinage Act was introduced to us, right, in the United States. And the Coinage Act is what took us off the silver standard, because before we had a bimetal standard where we had gold and silver as currency. 1873, they took us off the silver standard, and that was it was manipulated before that too, but that was when the real manipulation happened. Of course, we
Right.
already know what happened in 1913 with the Federal Reserve. 1971 was whenever we got off the gold standard. Silver had never hit its all-time high since 2011,
Right.
while gold is continuing to hit all-time high over and over and over again. Why is that? Because there's so many paper contracts that's written out on silver right now. The power that be, they write these derivative contracts to short and manipulate the price of silver. But just like all things, right? You can only manipulate it for so long. Whether we have blockchain technology come in to help resolve that issue, or we, the people, band together and just say, hey, we're going to go out and buy silver at one time, all at one time, one day, it could reset the system. Let me take it
Yeah.
back. It will reset the system. That's my philosophy. That's my belief of all the information I have been researching, right? Because everybody's over here like, we want change. If you're living through your day to day life, right? You're working 9 to 5 and whatnot, you're going to a grocery store, your pay is not outpacing inflation. Well, who's to blame to that one? The power that be, right?
Sure. Sure. What do you think is going to happen? Obviously, Donald Trump just dodged the bullet, no pun intended.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what do you think happens going forward? I mean, there are so many possibilities of what happened, how it happened, where the bullets came from. The rooftop, was there one shooter, where there's two shooters? It will drive you. It's like I've been getting information coming in from everywhere. What do you know about what's going on regarding this whole entire event? And how do you think Trump is going to affect the financial markets in a positive manner? I want your take on it going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I'm very happy that Trump was able to dodge that bullet, right? And I think many of us were very happy. I know that there was information coming out that it was all planned and all this stuff, and I'm kind of like, you want to know what? I don't know. I don't think it was, because all the information I'm coming out, I'm like, man, this is, the power that be don't like the fact that what Trump is doing, right? That's the reason why they the election for the first time, right? Because if you do, once you start understanding all of the orders and all the amendments and bills that he put in when he was last in office, it actually helped set up this new global financial system that we're going into right now. Whether you're talking about one of the most biggest pieces, probably the Quantum Initiative Act, which helped bring more attention and bring more research to quantum financial system and quantum technology. On top of that, it gave birth to Space Force. Those right there is the new financial system, right? You know, as far as how he's paving it, well, he already said he's a big proponent of the Constitution. Article 1, Section 10, where gold and silver is legal tender.
Mm-hmm.
He posted it on his account. So we already know that, gold and silver, he wants gold and silver to be put into the market, right? For that is real money. He understands that. That's the people's money.
Right.
If that's the case, how do we get onto the gold and silver standard, right? How do we go back to sound money? How do we get back to that type of form of currency without it being manipulated again? Well, this is where blockchain technology comes in. This is where all of the amendments and all the acts and bills that he put into place come in. Throughout time and throughout history of human civilization, we have gone through gold and silver and went back to gold and silver as the standard before, right? We've done it throughout history. How the problem is that the powers that be always come back, right? They always come back and take back control over the system, and they give us these funny little IOUs. Always try to make it sound like, hey, we're here to save and help the people, right? Which I'm not gonna lie, banking has revolutionized how we provide liquidity to the world. We need banking. The problem is that who's in control of the banking, right? Again, throughout history and time, those individuals, those same type of people have always manipulated the system to the point that it has actually enslaved humanity. So, in my opinion, because we're on the debt-based system that we are on, when we reset the system, we're going to go on a credit-based system, right? Where the credit-based system actually helped empower human civilization. 100%. We're going to have a new currency, USA Treasury dollar, that's going to be backed by real world assets, such as gold, silver, copper, oil, the equities market, agriculture, real estate, new energy like thorium, AI, quantum computing. I make it really strong, important to tell people like the reason why I'm a big like supporter of like Ripple and XRP, because I support America. Ripple was born in America.
Right.
People forget about that. People don't think about that. People because the prices are moving, right? On XRP or XLM or XDC or anything like that.
Sure.
I'm like, but Ripple was born in America. You really think, when people ask like, oh, Bitcoin's going to be the number one cryptocurrency. Well, it is right now. Ethereum number 2 at this moment in time.
Right.
But do you really believe that America is going to be number 2 or number 3 in this quantum financial system, in this shift in technology? You really think they're going to give up that easily?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me ask you a question. Why do you think Donald Trump is going to this BTC? I'm not, it's a known fact that Mel Carmine is not a big fan of BTC, and I think BTC is a bunch of hot air. And I believe Dogecoin is much more advanced than BTC. And that could be proven all day long. Now, Bitcoin, in my opinion, at some point should go away. Why do you think Donald Trump is going to a Bitcoin meeting? You heard about this, right? That he's
Mhm.
actually going to a Bitcoin meeting. And this is a two-part question. And then why do you think that the people like Gary Cardone, which is Grant Cardone's brother, and Michael Saylor and Max Kaiser, they don't see what we see, or they are very good actors at making you believe that they don't see what we see?
So I have a different philosophy when it comes to Bitcoin, right?
Hmm.
And I'm not, I'm not saying that Bitcoin hasn't been used for illicit activities
Hmm.
or wrongdoings or anything like that, because it has, right?
Right.
Um, and you can track and see the information that has been connected to, right? But because that information is so widely out there and you can see it by just tracking an address, maybe it was used to track, right? Not necessarily to go away, but used to track the money, where follow the money is, and then go after the bad individuals, right? Some people don't like Bitcoin, right? Because of it, of what it's connected with. But for me, the technology side of Bitcoin and what it's done to our world is phenomenal. I'm not going to lie to you, because if it wasn't for
Hmm.
Bitcoin, we wouldn't be, where we're at right now. Now, are there flaws within the Bitcoin network? Absolutely, 100%. And I even tell the Bitcoin bros, right, the developers and stuff, like, stop messing with Bitcoin. You're going to break it. You're adding smart contracts, you're adding NFTs and all this stuff. You're going to end up breaking the network when you don't even need to do all that. Yes, you have other networks that can handle all of that, right? Just, if you want Bitcoin to survive, let Bitcoin do what it needs to do, right? Again, it has done phenomenal what it's doing right now as far as bringing a new form of asset to society.
Hmm.
Now, on the other side of it, okay, why is Donald Trump to answer your question, why Donald Trump is going to the Bitcoin conference? Well, Bitcoin is the number one cryptocurrency out there, right? Everybody knows cryptocurrency because of Bitcoin, right? A lot of big players are already involved into Bitcoin, and a lot of millionaires, billionaires got in, and millionaires and billionaires were made off of Bitcoin, right? And once people start realizing and waking up that, it kind of is, I wouldn't say okay, so let me take it back. It is kind of like the digital gold out there, right? Again, regardless that it has actually flaws behind it, that, let's just say, for example, there's the mining problem, right? But you can have solutions that can come into place that can help with the mining. Now, is Bitcoin going to be the all and be all? No. I've
Hmm.
always felt like, and I've talked to other developers, I'm like, okay, well, as a person that understands how developing works, you could take Bitcoin and put it on a network, have it ride on another network, which
Hmm.
is my belief will happen, could happen, right? Now, is it going to explode? It can, right? It can go to zero. But anybody that, for me, I'm not gonna lie to you, because I envision Bitcoin and I can see what it can do. Okay, as far as the future technology, I'm gonna gobble up Bitcoin if it goes down. I'm not gonna lie to anybody, just because of the simple fact that, you know, the technology is already there, right? I'm not gonna lie, it is a decentralized network, right?
Yeah.
This is where the other side is, I'm kind of conflicted on, like, okay, well, only people that have money can mine Bitcoin, right? Because you have to have a lot of money to mine Bitcoin. Well, in the future, if we have free energy, you won't have to worry about that. Then it becomes a way that everybody can be on that level playing field, right? To mine Bitcoin, be part of the Bitcoin network, which I
Hmm.
believe we will have free energy, or
Yeah.
energy that will be very, very cheap.
Hmm.
That will help solve that problem in the Bitcoin network.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that the bad people, that the illicit
Right. Right.
activity.
But even though the XRP is 60 cents and the Bitcoin is $64,000, right?
Mhm.
Okay. There's a vast difference between the two. Uh, let me ask you a question. Have you watched any of Gary Cardone's videos? I mean, this guy, as far as I'm concerned, to explain it from a simplistic standpoint, he is the guy that can explain the Bitcoin probably better than anybody. I mean, he is really good he's very excited about Bitcoin. He explains it in such a way where we know he's excited about it. Whether other people get excited about it, that remains to be seen. But let's look at guys like who are supposedly maybe or maybe not here anymore, like a John McAfee. Do you respect John McAfee, first of all? Yes or no?
Yes.
You do. Okay. Do you respect his opinion? Yes or no? Okay. I'm going to show a short video, not to contradict what you're saying and not to take sides with McAfee or take sides with you, but I want to see how you react to it and how your audience potentially may or may have not seen. This is a very popular video. It's 1 minute and 44 seconds. And I wanted to see how you react to it based on what McAfee says. So let me go ahead and cue this up real quick. And I got to do the sound. Okay. Share. Let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
And let me know if you give me a thumbs up if you can hear it.
Nobody will use Bitcoin anymore. It's old, clunky, slow, expensive, with zero privacy. Nobody uses it. It's a piece of shit that the world has not understood yet.
So, John, just to play devil's advocate, because I want to hear your thoughts on this. I mean, there's a lot of ways that they're trying to add more privacy features to Bitcoin, right?
Are you shitting me? Are you shitting me? Yes, like there's a lot you can add to a Model T Ford to make it a fucking space rocket. Good God, wake up, my friend. No, it's stupid. Fucking please, God. You look like a man with a brain. You know better than this. You fucking know better.
John, I agree with you on the need for privacy. I mean, it's just not a reality.
Not just privacy. Privacy. Show me how the fuck you put a smart contract on the Bitcoin blockchain. Impossible. Well, what use is a goddamn blockchain without a smart contract? Everybody has a smart contract except Bitcoin. What about a distributed application? You can't put dApps. You can't put dApps on a. Please, God, please wake the fuck up. If you actually believe Bitcoin is worth more than 5 cents, then please explain that to me.
So John, where's the money going to flow, though? I mean, why are people buying Bitcoin today if it's not?
Because they're stupid. They don't understand the blockchain. That's why they don't understand cryptocurrency.
Now, I'm sure you've seen that clip before. I'm not the only one that's seen that clip about 1 million times, right?
Yeah.
What do you make of that? What do you make of that assumption, that analogy, that conclusion? Look, Bitcoin, we both agree, was created to move money. And to call it a store of value, it's perfectly okay. Yes, gold is a store of value, but gold also, right now, we cannot have this conversation because gold is inside the computer, right? And it makes the computer work, right? So it's got usability. If everybody decided tomorrow to sell their Bitcoin, does Bitcoin go to zero in your opinion?
It can, yeah.
It can, right? Because it has no intrinsic value or usability, and you can't do smart contracts, dApps, you can't do nothing on it, right? Correct, so does he have a valid argument? Does Donald, rather, what's his name? McAfee. Does McAfee have a valid argument? Does McAfee make an argument that is viable?
Absolutely, 100%. 100%.
Right? So, the Bitcoin Nancy's, do you think at some point they're going to come and they're going to say, maybe they're great actors? I don't know. Maybe you could explain it to me. Cardone, very smart guy, incredible billionaire guy, multi-billionaire. He was actually a billionaire before his brother was a billionaire. A lot of people don't know that. Michael Saylor, billionaire from Bitcoin. Max Kaiser, billionaire from Bitcoin. Okay. These are really smart guys. Do you think that they already know how to sales pitch the XRP, and secretly behind secret doors, they're already pitching the XRP in such a way that we haven't even heard these sales pitches yet, or we don't even understand it at the level that they understand it, but they're already accumulating. And at some point they say, yeah, we've been accumulating all along, but we said what we said because we wanted to keep the price low because we wanted to accumulate. Is that a possibility?
Absolutely, 100%. And to go back on, so like what McAfee says, where he mentioned that Bitcoin, you can't add dApps and smart contracts, which is correct, right?
Yeah.
We could sit there and say the same thing about XRP. Because you can't add smart contract to XRP, right? XRP.
I don't know because I'm not a technician, but I was told that you can.
No. Well, that's what I'm letting you know. XRP, now we can tap into smart contracts with the EVM compatibility, right? And with the Zahao network. This is why I mentioned earlier that Bitcoin, I don't, for me, I don't want Bitcoin to go away considering that what it done as
It was
far
the first one that paved the way. I'm grateful
correct.
for that. Yes.
So Bitcoin can ride on other networks, right? If you allow it to, okay? If they allow it to. Remains to be seen if they do that, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that it should have a place in the new world, right? Just because of the simple fact of what it did. Now, I'm not saying they will allow it to, right? But with the coding and capability, and if people have enough resources, then they can develop applications to bridge it on over, right? Again, this is not saying that they are wrong, right? As far as like Bitcoin itself, because there are flaws within Bitcoin. I'm not gonna lie to it. Whenever I started talking about it, I told you there were flaws with it, right? But as far as we have to think about, whenever I think about like cryptocurrencies and everything that we're going through, I think about the nerds, right? And not saying that nerds are bad, right? Because if you're a nerd, then you're the one that are fighting the good fight. You're the one that are doing the coding in the background. You're the one that are creating the metaverse that we're about to go into. And those nerds are the ones that, fell in love with Bitcoin, right? Or are developing on Bitcoin. And those nerds are the ones that can code it to a point that, hey, if they really wanted to, they can bring it on over, right? Now, again, is there flaws? Absolutely, 100%. But in a multi-asset and multi-chain environment, right, there's not going to be a one coin that rules them all, right? Now, every one of them plays their own individual part, right? XRP does its own thing, XLM does its own thing, XDC does its own thing, Algorand, HBAR, all of those coins, right? Ethereum does its own thing, right? But, can there be a place where Bitcoin can survive? Absolutely. So that's why I'm kind of like, I don't want to sit here and deny that and, give the false impression that, hey, maybe like, it can go away because it can, right? But
well, if people understand, for example, that, hey, if we never sell and we just keep buying it and storing it, and the ETFs come out and they attach the ETFs to it, and it goes to $250,000 per token, which is very likely in this next bull run. I believe a $250,000 Bitcoin is in the cards. I really believe that. Before we go into this new world, which we need a new world, right? We cannot go back in the three-dimensional world and keep things status quo the way they were for the last 40, 50 years. That world has been long broken. So what is the importance of, for example, what about Nassar, enough to be dangerous. Whether you call it Nassar, it's irrelevant. But how important is it for us to graduate out of this old world into a new world?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. It's pivotal for our whole entire humanity's sakes, right? It's 100% everything.
And why is it that you and I could see it and other people, it's right underneath their nose, the same information that's available to Echo and Mel is available to the rest of the world? Why is it that you and I and a few other people can see it, but other people are just make fun of it? Because if they make fun of it, they can sort of distract what the real story is.
Yeah. I mean, I could sit here and say that we're blessed. Definitely we're blessed. We're chosen. We can see things, we have eyes and envision things that people don't, that ignore. Like we'll sit there and question things, right? And keep our minds open. To be honest with you, I mean, in this world, there's a lot of NPCs, right? There's a lot of people that really just don't want to believe that, they want to believe whatever the mainstream media is telling them. And majority of us that are tapped into what's going on right now don't watch mainstream media. But if we do, we're only doing it just for the entertainment purpose of saying, hey, y'all are idiots for, watching this, right?
Right.
But for the most part, when you start seeing that, when you start understanding the financial system and the monetary system and the history surrounding around it, that right there gives you a piece of the pie. Then you add technology and understanding how technology and how fast it's evolved ever since, let's just say the 1980s, right? 40 years. Sounds like it's a long time, but not really. In the 1980s, we were just getting introduced to computers at the time.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Now look at us right now. We're literally talking.
Right. I think Bitcoin is going to be used as the new, like in the old world, if you have good credit and you got 850 credit score because you pay your bills on time, you got, cash flow coming in, you got credit cards, and based on you paying everything on time determines what your credit score is. I think Bitcoin, the only way, let's say, for example, just hypothetically speaking, I'm just trying to come to grips with this reality as I'm learning like everybody else as we go along. Maybe everybody that owns Bitcoin knows never to sell it because that becomes the new credit line for everybody who owns Bitcoin, because based on the fact that it's scarce and everybody who owns it knows never to sell it, they can get credit lines on owning a lot of Bitcoin, right? Because if you own $100 million worth of Bitcoin and you want to borrow $10 million, the bank's going to lend you $10 million because they know you have $100 million worth of Bitcoin that no one's ever going to sell. Is that a possibility? I'm just playing this thing out in my mind as best as I can.
You're absolutely, it can be. So I was actually having a conversation with a buddy of mine yesterday, and he brought up a really good point, right? So for example, you can't do this with XRP, right? And you can't do this with a lot of cryptos, what I'm about to say, but let's just say, for example, you know how you have those cash ATMs for crypto? You buy Bitcoin with cash. You can buy, take your cash, and I'm not advocating this for anybody, right? But you can take your cash, buy Bitcoin, and put it in a cold storage wallet and then not be linked to anything KYC.
Right.
In the future, that could be very valuable.
Right. Right.
Because it's not linked to anything KYC. So like you mentioned, it could be a form of credit. It could be a form of wealth too, as well, right? So it's kind of like, it's a thing to keep in mind. Again, I'm not saying that Bitcoin is not linked to a listed activity. We already know the black market and everything.
So is the US dollar, and so is the Russian ruble, and so is the Chinese yen. Exactly.
Correct. Correct. But it's not saying that they don't have the technology, because if you write a simple script, right? A simple script, smart contract, you can track and trace certain activities on a blockchain.
Right.
And they can literally go after all those individuals that it's linked to. Right. They probably already are right now. This is why people are starting to get, taken out, right? Or, know, because they already did it.
Yeah, but the same thing can happen to XRP. Let's just take the scenario of a buyout. Let's say that we were all delusional. A buyout is never going to happen. No, the Treasury and the new form of government that we believe will be run by a Nasara type structure is not going to take place. Okay. And so there's no buyout. Let's just take that equation completely out. Let's say we were all cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Doesn't happen. But the people who own XRP, like myself, that you own quite a bit, I own quite a bit. There's a lot of people that own quite a bit. We hold onto it like for dear life. And now there's a scarcity in the marketplace of XRP, right? And now they need the XRP to move whatever they want to move. And they never even thought, let's say, for example, of the buyout, right? Which I'm sure they have. Okay. They think of every possible scenario. But let's say now there's a scarcity of XRP, and they need the XRP to move all of the money on Earth, and all the money on Earth we know is going to be in the quadrillions, hundreds of quadrillions potentially, 50 quadrillion, 100 quadrillion is in the cards. Is it possible that scenario alone allows XRP to literally soar?
Absolutely, 100%. 100%. Because so my philosophy is that XRP is the new oil of the new world. And we're holding on to the new oil that they all need, the institution, the bank, right? If you're going to be moving money across borders, most likely you're going to be using XRP. Well, if you have this XRP, you have access to this new oil for the new financial system, right? You can make money on that new oil, and it becomes scarce because there's only 100 billion tokens, actually less, because it's deflationary. Every single time a transaction is made, there's a little bit of XRP that's being burnt.
Sure.
So as time goes on, it becomes more and more scarce, right? So the ones that are holding on to XRP, not selling it, accumulating, taking advantage of like the automatic market makers, providing those liquidities that the banks are going to need in the future. We're going to be, it's not unheard of that, hey, it's going to make the price skyrocket because, again, we're moving, quadrillions worth of data, trillions, quadrillions worth of money in the future, right?
Right.
Whenever I think about XRP, I think about the future technology, right? this is, Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is, I'm not saying Bitcoin is legacy, right? It's a legacy system, right? Not saying again, it can't come over, but for the most part, I think that Bitcoin is, hey, you're in this current world. When I think about XRP, we're in this new world and how they're moving the money of the future. Whenever David Schwartz, and Jeff McCaleb, Ryan Kruger, Arthur Brusto, Greg Garlinghouse, whenever they're talking about XRP or they created the XRP ledger and whatnot, right? They envision how to move the money of the future, how to move data, right? Because every single time you're moving money, you're moving data. That's all it is, data, right?
Sure.
Well, what's the value of data? There is no value. We don't know what it is. We're legitimately going through a new world. Anybody that sits there and talks about market cap of a price of a crypto, okay, well, you're talking about a stock. That's how they measure a stock. We're not talking about a stock. We're talking about a digital asset that holds information, transferring it across borders in seconds.
Yeah.
At the speed of light.
Do you think market cap looks completely different in the future, and how?
Absolutely. 100%. It's completely different. You can't measure data. We don't know what data is.
If you had to speculate on what that new calculation is like, I know I'm asking you a very tall question here, and I know that you and I are not mathematicians by any stretch, but what do you think? It's not going to be based on this old market cap that everybody's measuring, which is the old world that we're graduating out of, right? That people are sort of clinging onto. They don't want it to disappear for whatever crazy reason. Me and you are like so ready to get on with the new world. I mean, what do you think this new calculation looks like?
Insane. I mean, to be honest with you, just because of the simple fact that I know how the derivative market works, there's so much money in there. And there's so much money in the world that we don't truly know how much money is in the world, right?
Yeah.
We can sit there and look at, okay, the U.S. debt clock and start doing research on what shown on the Bank of International Settlement, but even they don't know how much money is out there.
They don't.
Only way to figure it out is to place it on blockchain and AI to let it do its thing. What the value of it's going to be?
Yeah. I could tell you the reason why I started my own gold and silver company, carminesgold.com, right, is because I got people calling me from Hawaii. We just closed a nice size sale today, Hawaii. Another person called me from Hawaii. I don't know what it is. Maybe Hawaii is going to be where Carmine's Gold gets its start from, because today we actually got our first big, we sold a couple of small little things here and there, but this is a pretty big one. And all of a sudden, it's like I got people calling me from all over the world, talking to me about gold and silver, because they don't want to really get into the digital assets, because as you know, that could get pretty complicated for somebody who's 75 years old, right? With dealing with wallets and all that stuff. So I got people calling me from all over, because I'm estimating, this is just guesstimating, okay? And you might laugh at this, Echo, but I think there's probably got to be more than $200 quadrillion sitting in bank accounts around the world right now, getting ready to take a shit, because it's not just the US dollar. Everything that is paper backed up by nothing is about to take a shit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not opposed to that idea, because when you start thinking of, this is where silver comes in, where my idea of silver comes in, right? Because there's 400 plus paper contracts out on silver for each ounce of silver, right?
Right.
If there's 400 plus paper contracts on each ounce of silver, between the options, futures, shorts and long in the stock market of silver, each one of those paper contracts can leverage. How much are they leveraged by? They can leverage 100% or 100x.
Sure.
Sometimes they can leverage up to 500x. We don't know.
Yeah, but is it possible that the fact that we already know that the price of gold, silver, XRP manipulated, right? You know that a couple of days ago there was $100,000 price tag on XRP and all of the exchanges across the board, all at the same time.
The glitch.
You know about that? You heard about that? The glitch, the ultimate glitch, I call it. Okay, so the reality is, if they're lying to us about everything, they're manipulating everything. What are the chances that they have silver and gold stored in places that we don't even know about, in amounts that we can't even fathom about, that they're not telling us about? And how would that affect the price of everything?
I mean, as far as for silver, I mean, so there's only a finite silver, and we have it all registered, right? This is where the COMEX market comes in, and
Mhm.
absolutely, they could have it stored somewhere, right? But highly doubt it, just because of the simple fact that they've been record keeping silver for a long time. Gold. We don't know what about gold, right? That one we're still trying to figure out. But as far as silver, there's only 100 million ounces, right? And there's although there's a finite supply. Well, even though I believe there's like 2 point something trillion ounces in the world of silver that's still yet to be mined, right? We're not mining enough silver to meet production, needed for the future. So even if they have silver hidden, it still won't meet the production needed in the future need for like solar panels, for AI technologies, for electric cars, and anything that we're going to need in the future. So, and that shift is going to happen. So, as far as for gold, of course, we still don't know how much gold is out there. We don't know how much gold is in Fort Knox. The last time Fort Knox was audited was in 1953, like fully audited. So, is the gold
No.
in the vault? Don't know. Did Trump go and get the gold from the Vatican? Yeah, maybe. We don't know though. There's nothing to confirm it yet, right?
Exactly my point. I mean, look, we've been trusting the Khazarian mafia with all of the banking and finances for the entire world,
Hmm.
right? And now we are supposed to take their word for as how much do they have in storage of gold and silver. It's a little hard pill to swallow to try and trust the same system that's been screwing us. It's the same people. It's the same people who know exactly. So a thief is not going to audit a thief. You understand?
Yeah.
So if a thief is going to be a thief, is going to be a thief. So if there is extra gold or extra silver that they only know about, I'm just playing devil's advocate out here because you know what? We've been screwed and tattooed and lied to in ways that we can't even talk about eloquently. I don't think the words even exist in the dictionary to explain the level of screw job this has been on planet Earth, right?
Mhm.
So to just say, yeah, they have so much, and yes, we believe them, and those are the same people that are running, all the manipulation on planet Earth. We got to be very careful what we say because that may very well turn out to be down the road when Trump comes back and we know the real truth, because I think a lot of truths are going to be uncovered under the Trump, administration as we move into this new world, whatever this new world is. So I think that there's a possibility that we may find out that there's a lot more gold and a lot more silver in the world that we were led to believe. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Trump did state that we're going to go through a quantum leap, right? And we've always been told that all everything will be revealed to us, right? All the
Right.
lies and everything. And, I've done so much research that, I understand how our birth certificates are registered along with, social security numbers and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I also understand how they're setting up the new system to, with the implementation of like XLS 40D, the decentralized identity on the XRP ledger, all these new protocols to help you bring it into sovereign citizens, right? And
Sure.
that will help unleash all of that hidden wealth that we've been lied to, because
Sure.
again, the power that be, they're the ones that manipulate the system, they're the ones that control it. Now, as far as the price itself, as far as these assets, yeah, I mean, we're let's just say, for example, okay, people sit there and say, like, we're going through the greatest transport wealth of all times, right? And they talk about, the boomers passing the money down to the millennials. But then I'm over here thinking in my head, that is a lot of money, but the other amount of money is the greatest transport wealth is all the hidden wealth that, is within our rights, especially if we're here in America, right? Through our birth certificates and our social security cards. And if we really, if we're going to the republic, right? Because, the US is a corporation. If we're going to go into the republic, we're going to unlock all that hidden wealth and all that land, all that money and everything that goes to us, the people, right? This is where the Gasar and Asara comes in, right?
Are you saying everything's going to change?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, me too. I'm on the same page. Look, this Jasar and Asara thing that people are still making fun of blows me away. It really does.
Mhm.
And I've come up with ways to basically tell them in a nice way, say, look, if you're making fun of Nassar Jassar, if you're making fun of a flat tax, that means you want to be continued to be taxed until the cows come home. Right?
Mhm.
That means you love the old system. You want to stay in the old system. I mean, how else would you interpret that?
I mean, you're 100% right. I mean, this is where they, they live, breathe, and grew up in and learned by the old system, right? A lot of us went through school, your public schooling. I did. I went to a public schooling, but granted, I was able to question and make my own decisions, right? A
Right.
lot of people were like, okay, well, they followed that same line of, hey, I'm going to go to school, go to college, and get that 9 to 5 and everything, right?
Sure.
And they're still into that system. To me, those people are the ones that are questioning like what we believe or what our philosophies and what we believe in our research that we've done, right? They believe it's a fairy tale that it could happen, but then, they're the ones that haven't done their necessary research to understand, again, what our birth certificates are, what our social security numbers are, what is a straw man, the gold, the silver, the questioning, what is blockchain technology, and all of that. I mean, you could trickle down they're the ones that not even paying attention to politics, right? Like, as
Right.
much as me for myself, I don't like politics. I could care less, right?
Me
The
too.
amendments that are put into law from our president, especially you live here in America, help set precedent to what is about to take place in the future, right? So I could give shit less about what Biden did as far as like what he did as presidency, because we already know he ran our country into a shithole along with the whole entire world. But you want to pay attention to is individuals like President Trump, right? What he was in office. Okay. You can go back and be like, okay, well, what did Bush and what did Obama do? Right. Because that helped trickle into what Trump did and what his implementation of why he needed to put in the orders and the acts that he needed to put in. Because,
Yeah.
if he didn't infiltrate and do what he needed to do, I'm going to tell you right now, everybody right now that's paying, we're complaining about 40% tax. Bro, we're enslaved to the system right now as it is, and we would have been 60% tax right now if Trump didn't do what he needed to do. I mean, what Biden already said that he wants to make it. He didn't want to increase taxes to 45%. Well, then people don't realize that how much inflation have we suffered in the past few years alone. That inflation is another form of taxation, everyone, and nobody realizes that. So
Yeah.
you put that on top of that, right? You're enslaved to the system, whether you want to believe it or not.
Yeah. You
You
buy
have
an
to,
airline ticket, you're taxed. You buy an Airbnb, you're taxed. You get a parking ticket, you're taxed. You get a speeding ticket, you're taxed. You go buy some preparation H because you're an asshole, you get taxed. I mean, look, the bottom line is, bro, you're probably lucky. We're probably lucky for keeping like 30 cents on every dollar we make. If you really want to include every single tax we pay,
mm-hmm.
right? And everybody seems to be okay with the system, and then they make fun of Nassara Jassara. Shame on you. Shame on you. Instead of going to QFS1776.com, going down to there's videos, and then number nine, which is my favorite number, okay, because I was born on 9/9, okay. You look number 9, there is a PDF there, and that PDF is what? The original document of Nassara and Jassara, QFS 1776. You scroll down to the bottom of the videos, number 9 is the original PDF, the way it was written, the way when it was presented. Okay, it's there. So go read it instead of making fun of us. And then you'll come back and say, you know what, Mel, that makes a lot of sense. Let's talk, and have a conversation instead of having a disagreement on something you know nothing about. I hate it when people know nothing about nothing and they want to have an argument about something they know nothing about.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, you're going to have those. I mean, I've had so many conversations with those type of individuals, right? And I think that like 2020 was kind of like it should have been a wake up call for everyone, right? And for myself, right? I hope it helped, enlighten me on blockchain and everything that we're going through. As we progress, continue to go forward, man, I hopefully everybody else starts waking up as well and start asking those questions rather than being like defensive against it, right? But just like the Matrix, right? The movie The Matrix, you're gonna have Agent Smith that want to they believe in the system so much that they'll sit there and defend it, even though they're enslaved to it.
Yeah.
Because that's all they believed in. That's all they, you want to talk about being conservative? They're conservative.
It's called not wanting to advance.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to advance. If you're embracing this old system and you're making fun of Nassar Jassara, that means you are a non-advancer. You don't want to get to the next evolution of life,
Mm-hmm.
and it's coming. It's coming. I had a great time, brother. I know that you believe in a lot of the same stuff that I believe in. We know that the future is bright. We know that the future is going to have a few more bumps in the road. That's just life in the cabal world. But the cabal is going to be literally, But before we go, I am definitely not on board with the vice president pick. Where are you on that? I wanted to ask you.
Oh, I'm over here like, you want to know what? I'm just gonna let it play out. I mean, I wouldn't.
Let it play out.
I'm just gonna let it play out because you want to know what? At this moment in time, right? I'm not gonna try to. I've been reading information about this individual, and yes, I understand that he was very negative towards Trump and some of the things too. But at the same time, it's kind of like you want to know what? Just let it play out and see how the movie rolls. Because at the end of the day, the whole entire we know how the movie ends. That's how I feel like. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
I agree with that to a certain extent, but the other part of me says, are you telling me that the swamp is still not fully drained and we got to expose these people still in part two of another presidential run? Shouldn't these people already been done away with? Do we have to expose them? Do we have to prove anything to the people? I think the people, 80% of the people have already come on board at this point and say, yes, we know, okay, they're all corrupt. Just get rid of all of them. I mean, look, I was against him picking a politician. I was more hoping that he would pick more, maybe an unknown billionaire, a family Christian man with a nice family, with family traditional values, a non-politician who's a billionaire who knows how to run a multi-billion-dollar company, right? Because look at Donald Trump. Donald Trump's a multi-billionaire. I think he did a fabulous job on his first term, and I think he's going to do an incredible job coming back now. I thought that would have been a much better, wiser choice instead of picking I wouldn't call him a career politician because he's only been a politician for 2 years. However, if you want to go down that politician route, I think a much better choice, and I think you'll agree, would have been a Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz would have been a much, much better choice than this guy. There's a lot of dirt on this guy, and the people in my chat room on Telegram pulled up all the dirt within 20 minutes. We had the whole crime sheet on him. Okay, so
yeah.
you're
No,
not going to get too far in today's world with the technology because it's a double-edged sword. Just like you're investigating us, we can investigate you.
Yeah, and he's probably putting it in to a point where he wants us to expose, right? Where he's letting us, the people, decide. But at the same time, I trust Trump.
I do too.
So, that's why I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna let it roll, right? Because if there's a master plan to everything, and he knows what the master plan is, whether he puts it in as far as this person that he's gonna expose them, or he's probably gonna change his mind. I don't know, right? But I trust him to a point that okay, I'm not gonna question why Trump did what he did.
And Jamie Dimon being in charge of the Treasury, that's another, iffy, whatever pick, if you will. Again, there might be a method to his madness that you and I can't see.
Yeah. So I know that we're going to be getting off, but my philosophy is that and I know that this is probably going to hurt or make some people upset when I say this, but because I know that we want to drain the swamp, right? And I believe that we should, but at the same time, how about if this is something you got to think about? Like, what if those people we're giving them a lot? They were like, okay, well, we're gonna allow you one last chance, right? Because when you come onto this new system, you can't get away with any of the BS that you did before. So you repent.
Yeah.
You repented. We're gonna let you come on, but if you screw up, don't think that you can do what you did back in the old system. You know how it works.
Well, it all depends on what they did in the old system. If they messed around with the little ones underground, and you know what I'm talking about, there's no forgiveness for that. Zero.
No, absolutely.
Right.
But there's some individuals that probably they were unknowingly, just part of it unknowingly, right? And this is where possibly that they're like, okay, well, we're going to give you an opportunity, right? But your opportunity, again, You come onto this new system, you know it's KYC, you know it's AML, you know it can be tracked, you know it's fully transparent. It's not like cash where I can just pay you cash and we don't know where this thing goes to, right? Everything is on the blockchain.
Totally.
So if you want to F around and find out, you can, right? But you possibly don't, especially in this new digital world, considering that everything is going to be linked to our IDs, right?
Yeah. I think it's going to take potentially 6 to 10 years for them to roll everything out. Even though I would love for them to just roll everything out, let the dust settle, however it's going to settle, it would crash so many things so fast. We wouldn't be able to handle it. They have no choice but to roll it out over a period of 6, 7, 8 years, whatever, because the technologies they're going to release, as you know, are going to be. I mean, Donald Trump's on tape saying, "Hey, we got to get into the race for flying cars. Otherwise, the Chinese and the Russians are going to beat us to it." Right?
Yeah.
We got him on tape. We got him on tape saying we got to take quantum leaps. He's using that word, quantum. He's dropping breadcrumbs. So we'll see. Brother, it was a pleasure having you. Please come back again. I got to get to my next podcast, and I'm going to be late probably, but that's okay. I'm sure he'll be waiting for me. But guys, get this content out there. Let's override the algorithms. I'm not too concerned because now at this point, we know that we're going to win the war. We're going to inherit these wonderful platforms, and we're going to set the algorithms the right way, allowing regular people like us to grow to our fullest potential. No one should ever impede on what Mr. Echo could do. You could find them at EchoDaTruth, DAECODA Truth on X.com. Follow him, and his link will be down below. Thank you, Echo. I'm going to hold you over for a minute before I go to my next podcast.
All right.
Hello, folks. My name is Mel Carmine, and we are right in the middle of a tectonic shift, the biggest wealth transfer that is going to hit this entire planet like a tsunami on steroids. This will never happen again, at least not in our lifetime. Many of you still have the opportunity to get in right now. Joining our Telegram group is perhaps the smartest thing you'll ever do, and it won't cost you a single dime. We have tens of thousands of patriots waiting for you, and they'll take you by the hand to teach you the ropes so that you don't get slaughtered. Not the global reset. This is not the global reset, but rather the quantum financial system reset, the one that's attached to Nasara Jasara. It's coming at us at 800 miles an hour. The question is, are you ready? Are you in position to receive wealth beyond your wildest dreams? There are 6 to 8 tokens that are going to completely and entirely dominate this landscape. And no, it's not Bitcoin or Ethereum. Join our Telegram group today, and don't forget to visit the Quantum Financial Systems Manual at QFS1776.com